The Islamic State group claims responsibility for Saturday night's attacks in London, which left 7 people dead and 48 injured. 12 have been arrested at the home of one of the 3 attackers who were shot dead by police minutes after their killing spree began. Musical healing in Manchester for 50,000 fans. Ariana Grande returns to the city's arena venue, headlining a star-studded fundraising concert for the victims of the May 22nd bombing there. And some 1,500 people are injured in the Italian city of Turin after a stampede broke out amongst a crowd watching the Champions League final. Hello and welcome to France 24. I'm Catherine Clifford. We go straight to London. The Islamic State group has now claimed responsibility for Saturday night's attacks, which left 7 people dead and 48 injured. Police arrested 12 people in connection to the attacks at a flat in the east of the capital on Sunday morning. It belonged to one of the 3 attackers who was shot dead by police minutes after they began their deadly rampage. The 3 drove a van into crowds on London Bridge before stabbing people at nearby Borough Market. Claire Rush brings us more on the investigation.
12 arrests were made in Barking, East London, after a counter-terrorism raid at the flat of one of the attackers, a move that took the neighbours by surprise.
Before opening the door, I heard the first loud bang. The loud bang I heard, I'm thinking this is definitely something unusual. I saw a couple guys running around and armed police around. Then I heard a second bang, which made him close the door. I'm thinking, nah, definitely not.
Some residents were shocked that their neighbour was one of the 3 assailants in Saturday night's attack.
He's very much a member of the community, very family-orientated person. He's lived here for 3 years. The entire block's only 3 years old. We all moved in pretty much the same time. It's very friendly, very affable. Again, there's nothing untoward about him in that sense. His wife just had another child. Just a very pleasant guy. It's just a bit shocking, a bit unsettling right now to kind of compute what's going on.
Meanwhile, in East Ham, another raid was carried out by armed police. Additional police, armed and unarmed, have been deployed on London's streets. Police held a press conference on Sunday.
We are making significant progress now in identifying the 3 attackers. Work is ongoing to understand more about them, about their connections, and about whether they were assisted or supported by anyone else. As I think you're aware, there are searches ongoing in East London, and 12 arrests have already been made.
A police cordon is still in place around London Bridge and Borough Market, where forensics teams are still investigating. During the attack, 8 police officers fired a total of 50 bullets to kill the 3 assailants who were wearing fake suicide vests.
Enough is enough. The words of UK Prime Minister Theresa May following an emergency cabinet meeting on Sunday. She said terrorism prevention needs to be ramped up online and that some difficult and embarrassing conversations would be needed to combat what she described as too much tolerance of extremism in the country. Emerald Maxwell has the story.
In a defiant message outside Downing Street, Theresa May said that enough was enough, as she linked Saturday night's attack to extremism, calling it a perversion of Islam. It's the 3rd attack on British soil in as many months.
We believe we are experiencing a new trend in the threat we face, as terrorism breeds terrorism, and perpetrators are inspired to attack by copying one another and often using the crudest of means of attack.
Following a meeting with the government's Emergency Cobra Committee, the British Prime Minister revealed that a further 5 terror plots have been disrupted since March. She said that military intervention alone wouldn't defeat the ideology driving these attacks, as she called on internet companies to do more.
We cannot allow this ideology the safe space it needs to breed. Yet that is precisely what the internet and the big companies that provide internet-based services provide. We need to work with allied democratic governments to reach international agreements that regulate cyberspace to prevent the spread of extremist and terrorism planning.
As police made several arrests in a series of raids in East London, May also mentioned beefing up jail sentences for terrorism offences and spoke of ensuring that security services have adequate powers. The Prime Minister said that violence wouldn't be allowed to disrupt the democratic process, and so political campaigning would resume on Monday, ahead of the general election on Thursday.
And with the UK election looming on Thursday, the leader of the opposition Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, also spoke, criticising the government's relationship with countries like Saudi Arabia, who experts say help fund extremism.
Our democratic values must be maintained. We must resist Islamophobia and division and turn out on the 8th of June, united in our determination to show our democracy is strong, however you decide to vote. And yes, we do need to have some difficult conversations, starting with Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states who have funded and fueled extremist ideology.
And while he's expressed his support to the UK, US President Donald Trump has also posted a series of controversial tweets using the attacks to push his agenda on his proposed travel ban. He also accused London Mayor Sadiq Khan of downplaying the attacks by saying there was no reason to be alarmed. These are remarks which Khan made about an increased police presence. A spokesman for the mayor said he had more important things to do than respond to Donald Trump's ill-informed tweet. Let's take a look through some more international reactions.
Just hours after the attack, reactions started pouring in. Through official statements or social media posts, leaders from all over the world expressed their support for the British people. One of the first to react was the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Support that Trump reiterated minutes later during a phone call with British Prime Minister Theresa May. French President Emmanuel Macron also took to social media. A French person was among the 7 killed during Saturday night's attack, while 4 more French were injured. This, according to French Foreign Affairs Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian. The French government has set up a crisis hotline.
From the moment that we learned of the attack, we set up a response system. We mobilized our Foreign Affairs Ministry and our embassy in London to help and inform our citizens who may have been worried or hurt.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel also condemned the attack and said she was determined to fight terrorism. As did Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who said he was following the situation closely. He encouraged Canadians to seek aid services if need be.
And as sympathies are sent to them from around the world, Londoners have been laying flowers and candles close to the sites where 7 people lost their lives in the van and knife attacks that also injured 48. Mayor Sadiq Khan announced a public vigil for the victims will be held on Monday at Potters Fields Park. Alex Hurst brings us more on tributes paid this Sunday.
As messages of outrage and solidarity poured in from around the world, people gathered with flowers to honor the victims of Saturday night's terror attack. Inviting Londoners to participate in a vigil and a minute of silence, Sadiq Khan declared that the city would never be cowed by terrorism.
Words don't describe the grief and the anger felt by our city. This was an appalling act of terror where innocent Londoners and visitors were enjoying a night out in London Bridge and Borough Market and were deliberately targeted by these cowardly terrorists.
That message was echoed by the signs some chose to bring, which read, "ISIS will lose, love will win," a reference to the Islamic State group, which has claimed credit for the attack. British Muslims expressed their own shock and dismay and determination to counter radicalization.
last night when they should have been in Ishar prayers or Tarawih prayers last night in the month of Ramadan, they were out here murdering people. And no matter what your concerns are, no matter what your grievances are, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that justifies this sort of behaviour.
The homage wasn't limited to London. Across the English Channel, in its sister city Paris, the Eiffel Tower, for a moment, went dark.
Many questioned whether it should still be held so soon after the London attacks, but the organisers of the One Love Manchester concert said it gave them all the more reason to go ahead. The event's raising funds for victims targeted when a suicide bomber killed 22 people and injured 116 at the Ariana Grande concert at the Manchester Arena on May 22nd. Ariana Grande returned to the venue, this time with the likes of Miley Cyrus and Coldplay, playing an emotionally charged tribute to some 50,000 fans. Elizabeth Walsh reports.
The stadium was sold out as a crowd of 50,000 gathered for the One Love Manchester benefit concert on Sunday night. Pop stars including Ariana Grande, Coldplay, Justin Bieber, Miley Cyrus, Black Eyed Peas, and more played in solidarity with the victims of last month's attack. Paul McCartney delivered a message to the crowds.
Hello to the people of Manchester. You're having a great day of music there. I just want to send my love.
So far, the concert has raised €8 million for attack victims and their families. Held just one day after London's deadly terrorist attacks left 7 dead and more than 20 injured, it was a spectacle of resilience and hope.
We were at the arena 2 weeks ago, and we just had to, it was either face your fears and come to this, or just stay at home scared. And we just thought we need to come and see other people as well, and be out here and have a bit more trust again in everything,
Parents, grateful for their children's safety, condemned the violent acts of terrorism.
My daughter was at the original concert in Manchester. Luckily enough, she got out before anything happened, because they got out before the last song. They talk about religion, but they're not religious. This month, for a lot of Muslims, it's a holy month. It's about praying, giving to charity, and all this lot. These people don't believe in any of that.
Instilling optimism and defying fear, children eagerly gathered to hear their favorite music.
It was good for Ariana because it wasn't her fault that it happened. That she's really good to help all them people and overcome the fears.
Grande, who performed with 24 children from a local school, wrote after the bombings, "Music is meant to heal us, to bring us together, to make us happy."
Some 1,500 people were injured in the northwest Italian city of Turin this Saturday night when a massive stampede broke out. Fans of Juventus Football Club were gathered in one of the city's main squares to watch their team play in the Champions League final when a bang sparked mass panic. Brian Quinn tells us more.
Saturday night, 30,000 people packed into this square in Turin. Suddenly, the crowd heaves. Reports suggest a firecracker or someone yelling that there was a bomb set the mass of people in motion. One after another, the barriers give way. This fan calls for calm, but it's too late. An enormous stampede is already underway.
I don't know what's going on. People just started falling on us. I cut my arm open. I don't know what happened.
For several long minutes, an unstoppable panic in the streets. When emergency services arrive, they find over 1,400 wounded. Among them, many women and children. Trampled, they fell onto the glass bottles strewn across the square, which shattered under the crush. For the rest of the evening and into the night, traumatized residents search for friends they haven't heard from. In the light of day, a small sea of personal belongings remain. dropped and left behind in the rush to escape. 3 victims remain seriously injured, including a young child.
And if you'd like to delve further into any of these stories we've been covering, you can head to our website, www.france24.com. You can see there our top story, the Islamic State group claiming responsibility for the London terror attack. And that's all we have time for. More news coming up here on France 24.